I don't. I think this has, and especially if Deshaun Watson's compromised with his throwing shoulder, this has 23, 27, maybe a late touchdown to like 3 or 10 vibes. Like a total defensive domination from the 49ers, and they pull away late. Maybe it's close for a little bit. Then halfway through the third, end of the third, they just lay the woodshed on them. Myles Garrett and co are too tired. Like, this is just what it has the feel to, because I'm just going by the X's of both sides. You just go matchups, right? And while the Browns might have a good defense, I trust the 49ers offensive weaponry way more than the Browns weaponry right now. Amari Cooper, hell of a receiver. Former All-Pro, Pro Bowler, his former Raider, former Cowboy. He's very good. Very polished in his route running. But you heard Mary Kay Cabot yesterday of Cleveland.com, who covers the team, on your show, YouTube.com, to find the whole interview. She was very good. 1 touchdown to a wide receiver this year.
Yeah.
That's Alex Smith with Kansas City levels.
No, well,
that's not good.
Well, it's only through 4 games, so let's give him credit for that. Alex Smith went
I know.
16 games, no touchdowns to a wide receiver. So he's already got Alex Smith beaten in 4 games.
And I have Amari on one of my fantasy teams, all right? So I'm well aware of the limitations of the Browns offense. I also had Nick Chubb. So it's not looking good for your boy.
You know what? I made a mistake. Here because I was reading Mary Kay Cabot, and that slipped on me. This is what happens at 6:30 in the morning, 6:50 in the morning. I'm looking at it right now. Deshaun Watson was idle for Wednesday, so he didn't practice. They actually will start P.J. Walker.
Oh, my goodness.
Ahead of Dorian Thompson-Robinson, because Dorian Thompson-Robinson against the Baltimore Ravens threw 3 interceptions, so they would actually start P.J. Walker, and DTR would be the backup to P.J. Walker if P.J. Walker started.
Former Carolina Panther, P.J. Walker. Former XFL?
Exactly.
There you go.
So if he does start P.J. Walker, yes, it could be bad.
I'm interested to see what the line is right now, because it started out at what, -4? Niners were 4-point favorites on the road.
-4.5, then it went up to 5. Now it's up to 7 on Bovada.
Yeah. Hammer that, if you will.
Also absent for the Cleveland Browns. Left guard, All-Pro, Joel Bitonio. He was absent with the knee injury. So this could be a beatdown.
Yes. I would actually be disappointed if it wasn't. The Niners need to go out there, and it's on the road. It's East Coast, so maybe you're saying, if it's not looking good early, maybe the Browns will be plucky early on. Kareem Hunt, he's still good. He's still shifty. Maybe they could, Kevin Stefanski, say what you will. He's a good offensive coordinator, so maybe they will tailor the offense around PJ this week. And you heard Brian Baldinger on with you guys earlier in the week. He says they'll take shots.
Right.
So they're going to try to not expose the secondary, but you know what? If there is a quote-unquote weaker link with this defense, and they're pretty damn good all around, maybe it would be the secondary. Isaiah Oliver, got torched against Turpin last Sunday night against the Cowboys. So maybe if you're looking at that, just, hands up. Don't hit any of these guys. Don't draw any DPIs, anything like that. But outside of maybe a few of deep balls like that, I can't see it, Bonte. I can't. I'm trying to, create urgency, if you will, because I know, look, you got to create urgency with this matchup. But it's going back to what it felt like with that Arizona Cardinals game, where it's just like, I'm not seeing a pathway outside of just a hangover game for the 49ers for the Browns to win this game.
And let's be real. And I want people to think about this. 888-957-9570. When does a season become special? Has it already become special for you 49er fans? Or is it special only at the end of the road when you win the Super Bowl? Because there's steps like last year, for example, 2021, and I'm going to get back to Cleveland in a second, but 2021 last season, not 2021. It started to feel special when Brock came in and they beat Tampa Bay the way they did. And I was like, oh, boy, okay, there's no drop-off here. They scored 35 against Brady in the first half, and then they go up to Seattle that Thursday in the hat and T-shirt game and beat the Seahawks in Seattle and win the NFC West. I'm like, oh, wow. Now the season is special. Now it's becoming, and then along the road, you beat Seattle in the wild card, you beat Dallas in the divisional round, and then you go to Philadelphia, and you're 1 game away from the Super Bowl. But looking at Cleveland and thinking about all those things, this team's mindset, and we had Dumas in a couple weeks ago, the focus in that locker room. They know there's no slipping up. Because if you slip up, it may cost you home field advantage in the bye week.
Yeah.
It may. So you cannot overlook the Cleveland Browns. And I think they have a defense in Cleveland that makes you lock in. Like Christian McCaffrey company will have to lock in. Brock Purdy would have to lock in because Myles Garrett is a dog. The guy lines up anywhere. He's a monster. He's on a short list as some of the best pass rushers in football right now.
He's a beast.
The secondary is very good. They're sticky. I can't wait to see Denzel Ward against Brandon Ayuk in one-on-one coverage. How does Shanahan scheme these guys open? George Kittle are going to be aware of. So this secondary is really good. This defense is really good. It's just giving up 70 yards a game on the ground. They're giving up 15 points a game. They're top. You heard from Shanahan yesterday in his presser. They're top 1 or 2 in nearly every defensive metric. So they will pose a challenge to this Niners offense. That's for sure. Jim Schwartz has his team humming on the defensive side of the football.
Jim Schwartz, obviously, Super Bowl defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles when they beat Brady and co. Obviously, he's former Detroit Lions head coach. So, yes, he will be ready. He'll send blitzes. He'll try to disguise them, stuff like that. They're going to try to pressure Brock Purdy a lot more because what I'm watching from Brock, even when he gets pressure in his face, he's just so damn calm, cool, and collected. He's just, I don't know how he does it. Coming off a surgically repaired arm, Bonte, when I watch Brock Purdy, nothing phases this guy. There might be a play here or there. There was a little stretch last week on Sunday where they were kind of getting to him. He kind of threw behind Brandon Ayuk and stuff like that. But then it's just short-term memory with him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to find a hole in this kid's game. And right now, other than, okay, he doesn't have, he can't throw the 60-yard rope on a dime and stuff like that. Okay. I don't think Kyle Shanahan wants him to do that. So to your point, if Myles Garrett can get in the backfield and maybe get some hits on him early, because we're making all these comps to, Tom Brady and, the pocket presence, the poise, Joe Montana. Well, to beat those guys, what do? You hit them. Yeah, you get in their face and you make them suffer and you make them hurt. Myles Garrett against Colton McKivitz, that's going to be the matchup. If the Browns are going to make this a game, that is the one I'm circling up. But to your point earlier, you were talking about, you can't sleep on this team. One thing with Kyle Shanahan that is so damn underrated as a head coach, this team is always buttoned up.
Yep.
I'm not going to any week where this team is sleeping on any single opponent. Maybe even last year against the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm going back to that game because Jarrett Stidham was making the start. They benched Derek Carr. They were keeping him out the rest of the year so he didn't get hurt. Didn't have to pay him all that money. And even Nick Bosa after the game was like, you know what? Maybe we slept on Jarrett Stidham a little bit. They got the win, but I think that was an eye-opening game for them. Going down double digits to that team, that was the real kind of adversity Brock had faced up to that point.
It's the biggest deficit he's faced, down 10 points in Vegas. You had no Deebo Samuel in that football game, and the Raiders, that was basically their Super Bowl in Las Vegas.
And the Raiders had weapons. They had weapons.
Yeah, weapons, no doubt. Devontae's a problem. He is a problem. But I'm looking at some of the comments here. We're going to get to Paul in a second here on the 888-957-9570, Paul and Capitola. 702. This season was special in the second and third preseason game when Shanny played the starters. The message was sent then. 510, Comcast Business
You can't send a message in preseason, but go ahead.
That's 702, that's what he thinks.
Relax.
510, Comcast Business text line. Season begins or becomes special after we destroy Philly twice. It gets real special 267 when we smoke the filthy, stinking Eagles. Niner Joe repping Niners in Philly. What up, Niner Joe? That's when it becomes special. So I think a lot of people, if they beat Philadelphia, now again, I'm here to say, and I know these Niner fans, they still won't feel like it's special after the win against Philly because you still got to do it in January and February, right?
Yes.
For a lot of people. But there are special moments along the way where you think, boy, the stars are aligning for us. 2021, going back to that, or 2019, going back to that season, when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers to go to 3-0, when they beat the Saints in the Superdome 48-46, winning the shootout, did they beat the Seahawks in Seattle for the first time since 2011 to win the division and get the bye week and home field advantage, and you're thinking, boy, Drake Greenlaw making that tackle at the inch line to win that football game. It had special moments throughout the season. I wonder if last Sunday will be one of those special moments where we're like, wow, they beat the vaunted Dallas Cowboys 42-10. Not only beat them, they destroyed them. Destroyed them.
Do you know what's even crazier? This feels so much more special than the 2019 season because of how dominant they have been.
Right.
Like in 2019, there were some close games here and there.
Oh, there were close games throughout.
It hasn't been close this season, Bonte. I think that's what's just so different. It's just like, and people have been using this term, and I was listening to Mark Willard the other week, where it's just like, it's almost kind of boring in a sense, and not boring where it's just like not exciting to watch. It's just, it's effortless almost. Yeah. Watching this team dominate. Oh, you're going to bottle up Christian McCaffrey last week, and he didn't even have his greatest game, and he still got a touchdown. What, 69 yards or whatever it was? Oh, okay. Yeah, we got Brandon Ayuk. We got Deebo Samuel. Oh, we'll have a George Kittle game this time. Oh, you're going to bottle up Ayuk this week? Yeah, Deebo will have a game. Oh, no McCaffrey? Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just have Brock roll out, and then scamper for a couple of guys. We'll have Jordan Mason be the bully ball this week. We'll lighten the load for you, Christian. It may not be your week this week. they have so much pick your poison mentality on this team right now.
They do.
Where I'm going, like, you can bottle up one guy or one guy could be missing on any given week. Outside of the quarterback, I still feel like they're going to be the favorite more often than not. It's wild. Like, and I think that's just where a lot of fans are right now, or it's just, where is the hole in this team? And why should I be feeling, a sense of concern in Cleveland, in Minnesota next week on Monday Night Football, in or at home against the Bengals? It is December 3rd, and I don't want to keep looking ahead to that, but it does have a feel, back in 2019, I go bring it back that year because that's the only thing we can go off because that was a Super Bowl run. It was just the Saints and the Niners. You knew you were beating the Minnesota Vikings, right? Hell, I knew they were beating the Green Bay Packers because they had ownage on that team, Monte.
Hold on.
When have you ever felt like you were losing to the Green Bay Packers?
2019, the biggest game, and this is why I get on people about, Jimmy struggled against Minnesota. To me, that was the toughest game leading up to a Super Bowl.
Really?
Green Bay felt like a party walking into the NFC Championship. That was inevitable to me. They couldn't stop the run. They had Rodgers' number. They couldn't stop the pass rush of Nick Bosa. They were cooked. The Vikings were tougher because of that defense. And I thought they posed some challenges to that Niners offense. And I thought they'd stack up well against the run. And the Niners just ran it down their throats in the second half. That, to me, was the biggest game because you're coming off a bye week. You hadn't hosted a game at Levi Stadium yet. That was the first ever playoff game at Levi Stadium. Don't forget that. Jimmy Garoppolo starting his first ever postseason game. Kyle Shanahan coaching his first ever postseason game as the head coach of the team. To me, that first game was like, boy, you get the bye week. Minnesota feels good coming out of the Superdome, beating the Saints. Remember that? They came back against the Saints in overtime.
But they were feeling a little too good. That was Kirk Cousins' first playoff win.
But they had a little momentum. It was 7-7. They had some momentum.
They shot their wad in that game.
They had a little bit of momentum. Let's go to